I'd like to tell you a little bit about Lama Michel, and so you really get the specialness of tonight, yeah, and the specialness of how to really listen to what he's going to say and offer to us or give to us in terms of his wisdom. So Lama Michel is a reincarnate Lama. So he was recognized at a very young age as a master, spiritual master, as a reincarnation of a spiritual master. And so he's a scholar, he's a spiritual master, he's a great teacher. He travels all around the world to many of our centers all around the world. He's a humanitarian. He supports hundreds of our humanitarian projects around the world. But he's trained to, as a spiritual master, to really give us the holy dharma of Buddhism. And he has a profound ability to give the dharma teachings, the Buddhist teachings, in a way that we can really use it in our life and apply it to our lives. So you don't have to be a Buddhist to be here. You don't have to be a Buddhist to benefit from Lama Michel's talk. I always say, please, welcome. Hi, hi, welcome. And whether you're a Christian or whether you're Jewish or whether you're Muslim or whether you're atheist, whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. So Lama Michel is a Buddhist monk, but he's going to give us this teachings that's useful for us in our lives, no matter what your religion is. You don't need to become a Buddhist, okay? So we all have a mind, whether we're Christian or we don't believe in any kind of religion. It doesn't matter. We all have a mind. And so Buddhism is really about the study of the mind and how we can develop our minds to our highest potential and really learn to overcome our inner conflicts and negativities, learning to be a peaceful, calm person. So no matter what our religion is, that's useful, right, for anyone. So please listen from that point of view, that he has a profound and really profound knowledge and ability to give us something really meaningful for our life and useful in our daily life. But let's give Lama Michel and Tiziana a really warm New York welcome, okay?
Vajradhara Soma Timonisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bara Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Soma Timonisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bara Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Suma Timonisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Hakyuke Shinto Jingilo Pakyo Kekuda Dagilum Pakyo Kesunda Dagila Pakyo Ketuda Dagi Tenyerme Chinto Jingilo. Good evening. So, just before we make the other prayers, I'd like just to share one word, which is, okay, first of all, I'm very happy to be here. It was not at all in my program to come this year to the United States, to New York. It was not at all in the program, but I will tell after how come I am here. And, but I'm very happy to be here. And something that for us, generally speaking, is very important is that any action that we do, whenever, whatever, what defines the action, the most important part of it is the motivation through which we actually do the action. So that's why normally whenever we start something which is important, like a gathering like today, we in the beginning, we generate the right motivation. Because it's not that the right motivation always comes spontaneously. So that's why there are prayers to help us to generate the right motivation, like to generate love and compassion, so we make do. This is what we are going to do today here, not only for our own personal benefit, but also thinking the benefit of others. So that's why we do the prayers at the beginning, actually, to generate again our motivation and to request for the blessings of the lineage and so on. So we do that at the beginning, okay? Now if you have the book, we can do it together. If anybody like to follow also. Namo Gurubhye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Gurubhye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Gurubhye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Triratnaya. Sangye Chodam Sogi Chonam La Chanchu Pardo Dani Kyapsuchi Dagi Chinso Gibe Sonamgi Drola Penchira Sangye Drupasho Sangye Chodam Sogi Chonam La Chanchu Pardo Dani Kyapsuchi Dagi Chinso Gibe Sonamgi Drola Penchira Sangye Drupasho Sangye Chodam Sogi Chonam La Chanchu Pardo Dani Kyapsuchi Dagi Chinso Gibe Sonamgi Drola Penchira Sangye Drupasho. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Semchen Tamchen Dewa Dan Dewe Gyudan Dempar gyurchi, semchen tamchen duma dam duma gi gyudan, chelvar gyurchi, semchen tamchen duma me pedewa dami chelvar gyurchi, semchen tamchen yerin chada. Nidan drewe tanyon lang e par gyurchi, semchen tamchen aso topchi, chinan chu koryu tashin samar ne gyurchi, semchen tamchen dan zambuli, giken ro tada chinangi, Shide dan tukundem paragyurchi. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings never be separated from the great happiness that is beyond all misery. May all beings dwell in equanimity, unaffected by attraction to dear ones and aversion to others. May all beings relax in a pure and healthy outer and inner environment, now and forever. May all beings recover from all sicknesses of mind and body pollution, and enjoy relative and absolute health now and forever. May all beings enjoy inner and world peace now and forever. Important thing for me, which is I think I learned in a very natural way. Since I was 12, Lama Michel used to take me to different meetings and congresses in different places. And we were in these big congresses in Sri Lanka or Malaysia or in Europe or wheresoever, and he was like the main guest of the conference. So he would bring me up and say, now you talk. You know, there was like, he was the main guest, so he could take, he said, oh, he needs to talk, little Lama needs to talk. I said, okay. And I asked him, what should I talk about? And he said, whatever you like. So something which I learned how to do, it was not in a hard way because it was never hard. Luckily, it always came quite spontaneously, was to talk from the heart. This is very important, and I learned since then that it always works. It doesn't matter where you go, where you are, with whom you are. And one important thing for me is also together with that is the fact that I studied Buddhism in a very academic way, the most traditional Tibetan way, how you can study Buddhist philosophy. But I know how to teach in that way, but that's not what I like most to do. In the sense that I think that for us, if we need to study Buddhism and we go through a whole long process, is it possible? Yeah. Is it of benefit? Also. But I don't know who here has time to do 15 years study. like 15 years, which means 11 months a year, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. You know, no one has time for that mostly. So basically what is important always for me is to share the aspects of Buddhism which for me are very useful. So I like to share them with you. So it's even more than to teach something, I'm here to share something with you. And what I have never done in all these years is to prepare what I'm going to talk about. So this is also for me, that's the way how I like it. So Lydia made a very nice title, How to be Peaceful and have Contentment in a World Without Contentment. And based on that, I would like to talk about, specifically about this title, in relation to that, but about one point, first of all, freedom. We all like to talk very much about freedom. We feel that we are very often. We can say whatever we like. We can have freedom of speech. I don't know how much freedom of speech we really do have, but anyhow. We have freedom of speech much more in many other places in the world. We have freedom of movement. We can go wherever we like. We have freedom to do so many things. And this is wonderful. So we all know that very well. We don't need to talk about that. But my point is that even though we have all these freedoms, the greatest freedom that we can have, we completely forget about it. And we become somehow, I'm not called necessarily slaves. Slave is a bit a heavy word, but we become most of all a result of the world around us. So what happens is that we live our life simply as if we were a result of what is happening around us. So, very simple examples. Why am I happy today? Because this happened, that happened, this person told me this. Why am I sad? I am sad today because this or that other thing happened also. Or when we say, oh, I'm so angry, I'm so nervous today. Why of that? Also because someone told me something or something else happened. I looked at my bank account and it was not as I expected. I don't know. You know, something happened. And that's why I am upset. So then suddenly something else happens, and what happened? I am happy for some instance. And then something else happens again, and like this we go. So what do we do? For me to change my inner state, what do we do normally? We try to change the world around us, creating better conditions around us. So we need to look better, we try to have more pleasures, we try to enter in contact with the situations, with the people, with the objects that normally makes us happy, that brings us pleasure. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? Nothing wrong at all. But what happens if we really look well? In the long term, we end up becoming a simple result of what is around us. We lose completely our own choice of choosing how I want to deal with this situation right now here. What do I want to be? What am I independently of the world that is around me? This is, for me, very important. So, someone may say, well, how that is possible? I believe it's very much possible. We will go a little bit through it today. But the point is, until I don't see what is happening, I cannot go to a solution until I have none. The problem is not clear. Now we say, knowing well the problem is already 50% of the solution. Very often we have a problem, and suddenly we just feel the problem, the suffering, the result of it, and we want to get out of it. So we start running and everywhere and looking for solutions, but we haven't yet looked well at the problem. And maybe sometimes it happens that when we look back to the problem, or we are running for the solution, and then suddenly we're solution for what? Because the problem is not there anymore. But we are still running to solve something. So that's why it's important to have the courage sometimes also to look at the problem, the situation that we like to solve, to look it clear, look it in the eyes. So first thing is just recognize, how do I live my life? Maybe you live in a complete opposite way of what I'm saying, and I will be very happy of that. not. The point is that this is something that only we can say for ourselves. No one can tell us what is happening inside of us. No one can say that. We say there's one thing that we cannot do is judge what goes through other people's mind and hearts. We can see it through their faces, through their words, through their actions, but really, really what goes inside, we don't know. There is one small story about it, which I like very much. It's a true story, actually. One of my teachers in the monastery, he told me this. When he entered the monastery of Seda in Tibet, we are talking, he passed away 2 years ago, and he was 77. Okay, so we can say maybe around, okay, 79 years ago, almost 80 years ago he was born. So let's say something like, yeah, 70 years ago back in Tibet, okay, in the monastery of Seda. And it happened there, he was there, and he was a small kid in the monastery. So when they entered the monastery, they would say normally they needed to study well, learn how to read and write and so on. And there was a monk there. He was an elderly monk, but he was, how do you say in English? The monk that they didn't come out well, didn't work. Okay? So he was this monk that he was old already in the monastery there for many years. And what happened is that he didn't know well how to read and write, which in Tibet actually was quite common for many people. But still, he didn't know how to make the prayers well. He was just working in the kitchen and doing little simple jobs in the monastery, and he passed his life in this way, like this. So whenever the kids didn't study well, they used to give, I don't remember his name now, but he would say, oh, you know, study well, otherwise you become like him. If you don't study well, you will become like him. That's what they used to say normally. So one day happens that the monk that didn't come out well, he had a student, which is not like a student that he taught anything to him, but in a monastery it's very normal that after some time, when a monk gets to a certain age, when come new monks to the monastery, he needs to be responsible for them. So he becomes like a teacher. Actually, he like taking care of him, like a father in the monastery somehow. So what happens is that at that time, he came to his young student, and he said to him, oh, for 3 days don't come to bother me. I'm going to die. So I'm going to be preparing myself to die, so you please don't come to see me. And then the young boy just thought, okay, better for me, because it's just one of his jokes again. So for 3 days I can just stay by my own, do whatever I like. And what happened actually is that after 3 days he came back, and there he found the monk that didn't come well. He was seated in a position of meditation. In front of him he had the wood to burn the body, the robes for the body, the cloth, everything needed so he would not bother anyone was there. And then together with it, he was sitting in the position of meditation. He was dead. And how do you know when a person dies if he did not take anything to die and say, okay, at least in the end of my life I will show I was someone to take some? Because one of the high realizations is to recognize the moments of one's own death and transform that into the path of enlightenment, which is something very difficult to do. It's possible, but only very high realized practitioners can do that. Even there are many stories of practitioners that tried to do for very long, they couldn't do it. So only very high realized practitioners can do it. So when he said that he was doing this, nobody believed in him. So what happened is that how do you know if a practitioner normally really did it or not? The body is dead, so no more heartbeat, no more functions of the body and so on, but it still remains warm in the heart for a few days. Depends. Some of them are like 15 hours, some of them are like 30 hours, 40 hours, it depends. Even 15 days, it's possible. I have seen that myself. So, and he was in that state, what we call final meditation, or meditating into clear light. Anyhow, so this monk that everybody always joked about, said he didn't know anything. There he was, showing to everyone that he was a really great practitioner, very realized. So my teacher always used to tell me this story when he told me once, he was saying, never judge what goes through the mind of other people. You never know. appearance is just appearance. What is really inside, why someone is doing what they're doing, we really can never know. But we can know one thing, what goes inside ourselves. That's what we should check. And be truthful to. So, that's why also we always say never judge others, you know. We can say, oh, this person did this, said that, for me it looks in this way. But I can never say this person did this because of this, he said that because of that. Because I really cannot know exactly why. Have you ever been misjudged by someone? I think it happens maybe once in your life. No? So, if it happens to us, why can't we misjudge others? I think that's very natural, no? So based on that, really, it's important for us to be careful, not really to judge others. But the point here, which we were, is the fact. I cannot say for others, but we can look to our own lives. How I live my life. And in the way how I live my life, we can check. Do I live my life as being really, how to say, am I the owner of my life? Am I really the boss here? Or am I just acting like, how do you say, yeah, I would even use the word a slave of the conditions around me. Because if we really look well, how do we judge if a situation was good or bad? If something that happened was good or bad? If we had a good day or a bad day? We do not judge it from external factors. We judge it from internal factors. Was I happy or not? I was satisfied or not? If I was nervous, you know, externally everything could have been wonderful, but if I was nervous and anxious, I think it would not have been a good day, right? Sometimes externally things can go really bad, but internally it can be beautiful. I remember, for example, once, what a beautiful memory I have. People might say I'm a little bit crazy, but we had a very bad bus accident in India in '95. And the World Lama Michel was there, and Lama Michel's secretary Kozi really broke her arm very badly, and it was not an easy situation, okay? And few people got a bit hurt. So we just finished this accident. Really difficult situation, people screaming here and there and so on. And I remember, okay, I said, okay, let's go on slowly, no hurt. And I went out of the bus. And as I look up in the sky, I saw the most beautiful sky I've ever seen in my life. Because we're in a place very far away from any city, so no lightning around. So many stars. Actually, I saw one time a better sky in Tibet at night last year. But it was so beautiful. And I remember in the middle of all that situation, just to stop and look at the sky, it was so beautiful. It brought me so much joy at that instant. Which is another thing which is also important for me, is the fact I cannot let one negative thing to overwhelm the positive things. And vice versa. I can see, okay, yes, there we have problems. At the same time that I was seeing this, I was looking back to the bus and say, okay, people, let's get out, because there was liquid coming down out of the bus. And then people were saying, no, my purse is inside, I need to go back. And I said, maybe there may get fired. Maybe better we go out. So we can check the situations, but what I want to say is, like, even in a situation which was very bad, my head was hurting quite a lot because I bumped my head very strongly. But still, with all this difficult situation, you know, we can find a moment of joy. And I think we all have experiences like this. Experiences where externally things really are not the way how they are supposed to be. At least how we want them to be. But for some reason, we are happy. Something there is an instant, or we are satisfied that we are well. There are other moments where externally things are just beautiful. Even if we try to find a mistake, something that is wrong, we cannot find a reason. And still inside there is something wrong. And then what happens? happen? We just create projections and we start finding problems, creating problems, because something must be wrong. No? So my main point here is like, if we really look to our life and we observe what is the reference to good and bad in my life, it's not the external conditions. It's what comes inside, how I live inside my life. So the point that I make here is the fact that we cannot live our life just as being a result of external conditions. Because what happens is that we live our life as if we were completely independent of everything else. But at the same time, we create a dependence of everything else. For me to be happy, I need this. For me to be happy, I need that. For me to be happy, I need this and that. And like this we go on. And when we get this is not enough anymore, I need that. You know? The result of desire is insatisfaction. So as soon as we get something, okay, good for some time, I need something else. I'm not saying I don't like anymore what I have. It's beautiful, wonderful. But, you know, there's a problem somewhere else, I need to solve it there. So, the point is, really, how much importance can I give to external situations? I learned something when I was I was maybe around 15. And one day, I understood something. It's like, in Portuguese we say, quando cai a ficha, which means when the coin goes down. I don't know here, but I think, yeah, like, before we used to have these telephones, that to make a phone call you need to put a quarter, or, no? And sometimes you put a coin and the line would not take, so you need to put the coin more times, and you don't know when the coin will really go inside and give you the line, right? So when we say, okay, the coin went down, it means, okay, got it, okay? So it's like sometimes we listen to the same thing hundreds of times, and it doesn't make really any effect, and suddenly one day, I got it. That's in Brazil, we say, when the coin gets down. So one time, suddenly one day, I got it. And it was so simple, but made a complete difference in my life. The conclusion which I got is problems exist and will always exist. So don't try to make your life perfect, because it will never be. From external conditions. It will never be. You know, I have a wonderful life. I cannot complain at all. But there was not one day in my life where everything was perfect. And I have met so many people in this life, and I have never known anyone today, until today, which could say, oh, in my life there was a period of my life, even one day, which everything was exactly how I wanted. There was nothing which was different of the way how I wanted it. I've never seen that. A bit of insatisfaction here or there, something which goes wrong. It's always there somehow. So from the day I accepted this, I relaxed a lot. I said, okay, it's like taking away from the shoulder such a heaviness. I said, okay, let's stop trying to make the world perfect. World, I mean my own personal world. And with that also, because together with this, it comes another projection, which is, I will be happy when. When I will be happy, I will be happy. When I was a small kid, I would say, I will be happy when I don't need to go anymore to school. Then you go on. You know, I managed quite early, when 12 years old, so I went to monastery. Then you go, okay, then I will be happy when I get this. I will be happy when I have that. Then you get it. And it's not enough. Then we are not really that happy. Are we happy for a short period? Yes. Okay, one other thing. What is happiness? Otherwise we are talking the whole evening about happiness and we have different ideas. Maybe I have one idea of happiness and you have a completely different idea of happiness. So one day I needed to write a text to some children in Brazil who had no background whatsoever nearby Buddhism. And I was thinking, I said, okay, I cannot write about happiness from a Buddhist perspective. using Buddhist terms and so on. I really must put in a way how I feel it, first of all. Let me ask myself, what is happiness? And I tell you, it was not a very easy question to answer. So I start making some questions to me. Do I feel happy when I have a sensory pleasure, like a music that I like, or something that I taste well, or someone that I like that comes and make me, how do you say in English? How do you call it? Carizia or something like that. Someone that's kind to me, or when anything, when we see something beautiful, are we happy? Yeah, no. When we get a present of something that we really wanted so much, we're happy. When someone comes and makes us a very nice compliment that we were not expecting, or even sometimes we were expecting, even better sometimes. Okay. So, does this thing make us happy? Yes. How long does this happiness last? An instant? A little bit more? Not much. What else makes us happy? When we feel love. When we love others. When we feel that we are being loved from others. When we give, for me, giving is one of the things that gives the greatest joy. To be able to give something to others that makes others happy. I think it's beautiful. Anyhow, if we really look, there are different things that make us happy. When we understand something that we didn't understand before. There are different ways, things that make us happy. But what happens is that happiness is that instant in which we don't wish anything to be different from what it is. It's that instant in which we say, ah, it's perfect. I don't want anything different in this instant. So we relax profoundly. And we stop trying to fight against the world, trying to fight against anything. And we just say, ah, it's okay. I am fine. And in that instant where we are not in a defensive mode, it's that instant where everything is just fine. I am happy in the sense that really I don't want anything to be different from what it is. Normally we live this for quite a short period of time. So for me personally, that's the actual meaning of happiness. That's my goal. If you ask me, what's your goal in this life for yourself? My goal for my life, for myself, is to be able to be well with myself and others, to be in harmony with myself and others, independently of where I am, with whom I am, in what situation I find myself. So really to be able to choose how I want to relate to the world, and not let the situations around me tell me what I should be. This is really important. And